And welcome back. You're listening to Home Wizards. I'm Cindy Dole.
Hey, I'm Eric Stromer.
And, last night I made these burgers that I really thought were kind of fun. It was using sun-dried tomatoes. You can get sun-dried tomatoes, in those jars, and they're kind of packed with an olive oil. I didn't use those kind. These were sun-dried that were they were moist, but they were just in an airtight plastic bag that I bought. And I just poked those babies into the burger with some seasoning. It was so yummy. And so, with grilling season about to kick off, thought we'd talk about some ways to make, what else, but great burgers, from how to get the grill to cooperate with your meat, because you love to grill. You're like the grilling guy.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, the great Irv Stromer, my dad, his technique for the hamburger was to throw in a little pat of butter.
Oh, my gosh.
Right inside the middle of that burger.
Uh-huh.
So that it gets so juicy, and then the butter kind of oozes out when you take a bite. Oh,
sounds scrumptious.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, I thought you were going to say bacon.
Well, yeah, he does that too.
Because what I found is I always go for like really lean hamburger. I'm trying to watch fat, right? And the truth is that while meat, with a fat high content will be juicier, did you know that the leaner meat is better because it won't shrink as much? That fatty meat, here you think you've got this Mondo burger, and all of a sudden it reduces half the size. So it sounds like that butter might be the solution.
I think so.
Or adding bacon.
Butter's not there. They've switched back again. So now fat is actually
fat.
Okay. Hey, fat's good for you, everybody. Let's eat fat. And last week it was, the whole low fat thing. It's crazy.
Oh, back it was like a few years ago. My husband and I went on a quote unquote fat-free diet. Right.
Yeah.
And so we would go to the movies and take licorice. And
there's no fat in licorice.
We're thinking, oh my God, this is great.
Yeah.
We gained weight because why? Well, there's sugar in licorice.
Yeah, that's right.
So it was fat-free, but it wasn't a good thing. So here's another great technique that the chefs use. It turns out, don't put the salt in your hamburger patty while you're cooking it.
I
Wait
heard
till
that.
After.
That also constricts, right? And sucks the meat in.
It takes all... You think of what it does. Salt makes you parched.
And it's used to dry things and make jerky.
Yeah, so you're cooking jerky burgers.
Oh, boy.
Right?
I'm not doing it.
So hold off, as tempted as you are, because you're going to be, I know you are the seasoning master.
Yeah.
Well, so just don't deny yourself the salt. Wait till after it's cooked, because otherwise it's going to take all the moisture from the burgers.
That's really good to know.
So now we know it's okay to use the leaner meat, but maybe add a little butter, add a little bacon if you want it to be more moist, and certainly don't add the salt until the end.
And also, when you are getting your grill warmed up, I think a lot of people make the mistake of not turning it back down again once it gets to temperature.
Right.
Because that immediate searing burns the meat, and then I think it's... once you're there, you've gone too far.
And then it's raw on the inside, but it's crispy on the outside.
Especially when you try and grill chicken that hasn't been pre-baked a little bit. I hate that where it's like burned and then raw in the middle.
Gummy. So what would you just say? Like what temperature you think is good?
I just bring it back down to medium again.
Bring it down.
It depends. Bring it down.
Bring it down.
It just depends on how hot your grill gets. But I always go on mine because I finally know it very well. I just turn it all the way down, almost all the way to low after it's come to temperature, and it seems to work great.
And back to the meat that is either lean or not. If you ever make turkey burgers or even ground...
Turkey burgers are tough, man.
Ground chicken or ground turkey burgers, they are so lean that now you got to add a little bit more something to make it hold as if it's going to really dry out.
Sure.
So consider maybe a little bit of chicken broth.
Yes.
And a little bit of olive oil.
Since I've become a gravy master,
You're a gravy master.
I have like 10 boxes of chicken stock at my house.
Or even vegetable stock is good.
Yeah, it works.
But you're a gravy master.
Oh yeah, I'm a gravy master. Yeah, my mom taught me how to make great gravy.
Oh,
and it makes such
like
a
for
difference.
Thanksgiving and things like that.
No, every time I roast a meat or a chicken, I'll make gravy to put on the rice, a little bit on the meat itself.
The same kind of gravy, like just basic brown gravy.
Yes, it's just Wonder pastry flour and fat from the meat and
a little bit of fat
and a little whisk and chicken stock.
And it's never clumpy because
I do it right.
Oh my gosh.
I do chicken right.
You really are the perfect guy in terms of making. I mean, you can do the gravy too.
I do the gravy and I do drywall.
That's
on
man
my business
and he's
card.
A gravy man.
Gravy and drywall.
But you're not on the gravy train.
No.
Okay, just to put that, not yet. Keeping your options open, of course.
That's right.
Now, when it comes again back to having the perfect burger, we're watching the leaner meat. Never leaner than 85% though, right? And then you want a little bit of maybe some olive oil, butter, bacon, or something if you want to go there.
Yeah.
You want the temperature to be medium, low to medium. What about also watching It's tempting to flip the burgers over and over, but the word on the street is just to turn it once.
Right.
It's hard to resist, but try not to flatten your burgers
Right.
with a spatula. It squeezes out all the flavor.
And then it makes the flame jump, and then you get that burned, scorched earth kind of thing again.
But I'm guilty of that. I've been flipping and but try not to.
I'll tell you, the only reason I do flip a little is because I like the cross-hatch look on the meat itself. You know what I mean? That classic sort of the tines going one way and then
restaurant
the other.
Quality.
Yes,
looks great.
That's the only reason I do it.
So, I see. So then you do flip it again.
It's just a quick sear so that you see the cross-hatch marks on the meat. But that's my OCD.
It's a good look. It makes you. It seems like it tastes better because it's that design
all in
appeal.
the presentation.
Yeah. How about making a good patty? What is your technique? Because there's a kind of a battle of, do you go thin or do you go thick?
I go a slightly plump in the center, but I also don't compact too much. That's
so
the
you
mistake.
make a little ball?
I think people make the mistake of like that thing, right? Where it's literally a flat pancake.
Because again, no juices.
No juices, and the meat I don't think cooks as effectively when it's compressed so much.
So how thick are you doing?
I'm going about 3/4 of an inch, and I'm going a little bit wider than you think you need, and then it sort of almost looks like a discus. Slightly
nice.
Plump in the center, and then kind of moves out toward the edges. But not too much patty cake. No.
And by the way, another technique that chefs do all the time in all your favorite restaurants is then, to prevent the swelling, they just use their thumb.
Yeah.
And you put a little indent right in the middle. Just one little boom right in the middle, because then that keeps them from swelling in the middle.
Oh, it kind of pops it like a bubble.
Just a little. And it's going to help for even cooking.
And you can't be fingerprinted and identified ever again because it burns your prints off.
Yeah, the TSA might be watching you while you're there doing your grilling.
That's it.
And by the way, don't worry about letting some of the flavors mingle. You can leave your meat mixture or patties in the refrigerator for several hours.
Sure.
And that will then, after you've made your patties, don't add the salt though again.
No.
But the other seasonings, like what kind of seasonings do you add? What are some of the herbs and things?
I'm a purist on the hamburger.
No teriyaki
I rarely
soy.
put anything in it at all. I do, sometimes I'll do some onion and again a little bit of butter.
No?
Not really.
See, I love the Worcestershire. I do I've done like some Hoisin sauce, for the Asian fusion thing.
Sure.
I've done different kinds of cheeses. Have you ever tried putting cheeses
in the burger?
In the meat?
Yes, I have.
Like what kind of cheese?
Well, I like the cheddar, the classic Tillamook.
So you put that in
right in
the patty. That sounds
inside
yummy.
The middle. Yeah.
Or
that
how
works
about
pretty good.
I love a little bit of goat cheese sometimes, or feta.
Okay.
Different kinds.
That's your Mediterranean thing.
Little different, you know. So let's talk about some of the classic great burgers. In fact, you can even make mini pork burgers, miniature food. Finger
like sliders,
foods.
the little sliders.
Yes. Become all the rage, right?
But the Kobe beef sliders. Have you had those for $107 on the menu?
And what is it about the Kobe beef?
They massage it. They feed the Kobe beef beer and high amount of grain.
Beer?
So it fattens them up, and then they massage each cow individually.
Oh my gosh!
So that he's tender.
Oh.
And then they turn him into tiny little burgers that are $150 on the menu.
But they go smiling
yes,
apparently
they do,
because they're.
Well, they say goodbye, gentle friend. You're going to become a tiny burger.
I don't want to hear about that. No, that makes me sad. I know. I like to look at burgers as just it's not.
I think the Kobe beef thing is almost a little bit of a hustle. I hate to tell you.
You think so?
I don't know. I haven't really noticed that it's that much better.
Okay.
Crazy? I don't know.
Here's one of my favorites, because you mentioned you'd like to put a little bit of cheddar cheese in that thing.
Yeah.
How about grilling mushrooms on the side and then putting this in your burger with some Swiss cheese?
That sounds great.
It's pretty darn good.
The Swiss and the mushroom combo together, yummy.
I mean, that is totally like restaurant quality, right?
Absolutely.
And the other technique that's really great is that, you can add, we talked about feta cheese. You can actually make a burger that's in the shape of a hot dog. So imagine making your patty, but it's going to be on a hot dog bun.
Oh, that's kind of a cute idea.
So it's kind of a fun idea.
Yeah.
And then add some different seasonings. And then maybe have some tomatoes. Like, what about grilling tomatoes?
I love
grilled
that.
Tomatoes
that is so good. You
on
put
the
a little
burger.
olive oil on the tomato, a little bit of salt on that vegetable is okay.
Yes.
Go ahead and grill that. Flip
Yum.
it. The tomatoes get juicy on the inside. You can even peel the skin if they get a little burnt, and still so good.
Very, very. I mean, all these are some of the classic burger recipes, and
the key to any misshaped burgers or anything that's unusual, you have to have a great spatula on the grill that's solid steel and
long, right?
enough so you can get under the lengthier portion of the meat. You don't want those little plastic ones because they melt. I don't like them.
And then plus you have more control.
I agree.
Right? To be able to manipulate.
It's all about the tools.
Yeah.
I'm a tool guy, so you got to have the right stuff for the grilling.
We will put all these up on the website, but I mean, I love the idea of just being creative with your burger because it's like the American standard, but now just add it and infuse it with your favorite flavor, your favorite ethnic flavor. It can be Mediterranean, it can be Asian fusion, it can be classic salt and pepper.
Make it up as you go.
Just make sure you add the salt afterwards.
There you go.
So that meat's
Good
tender.
tip.
All right, we'll put on the website at yourhomewizards.com. Make sure you go there. You can always listen to past shows and find our content. And when we come back, we have some more fun things to do to help you get ready to improve your home and improve your life. Eric Stromer, Cindy Dole, you're listening to Home Wizards.
Still the place that we all call